Steve, you're up. Steve, you're up.
So a couple weeks in a row, my mind is being blown by the dumbest stuff ever.
Yeah, like 10 speeds and nuts.
This podcast is helmed by nearly 70 years of adult. And we couldn't figure out that all nuts had shells. On the way up to your house here, Steve, I noticed a beautiful beacon, a shining beacon of what I can only call failure.
Hobbled to the side, you made the play. Looked fantastic.
Boy.
Well, if we're sticking with the rancher farm theme, it looked like there was a little hitch in your giddy-up. Kind of bobbled your way over.
It's news to me that I'm hobbling and bobbling now with a hitch in my giddy-up. News to me heading into the season.
That might be my favorite intro so far.
You know, sometimes it takes to maybe the week after to realize how stupid the previous week was.
Yeah.
When you hear us talking about nuts, we didn't know nuts had shells.
Yeah.
How bikes work. And my stupid foot causing me a hobble and bobble and give me a hitch in my giddy-up. How stupid.
Yep. But we're back.
Somehow.
Here we are. Now we got fancy new equipment here in the studio.
Yeah, the best money can buy.
Yeah, that was $7.99, I think, delivered to my door. We got a brand new headphone splitter. Everything. Look, I can move this thing around all I want.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
I can still hear you.
I can still hear you.
Which is a rarity. Yeah. Now, again, this is an improvement that zero people outside of this table notice.
Yeah, it's be the equivalent of me saying, like, we got a new doorknob. Mm-hmm. It makes no difference.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Yeah.
We'll enjoy the doorknob.
Yeah. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast. It is Monday, April 30th, 2018, the year of our Lord. You know what that means. You know what tomorrow is, right?
Don't even do this to me right now.
Right? It's the day that everyone's going to post the Justin Timberlake memes.
Yeah. They're funny today. They were funny a year ago. They were funny 10 years ago because Justin Timberlake said the word me funny in a song.
It's gonna be me.
And I don't know why I'm the old man on this, but I am.
It is very old man of you.
I don't know why, because I let people have their fun, whatever makes them happy. But if the meme of Justin Timberlake with the words around it saying, it's gonna be May, make you happy, you make me sad.
All right. People listening.
Right now. Don't do it.
It's just us here. It's just me, Steve. He just stepped out for a minute. If you could, and you're downloading this on Tuesday, May 1st, 2018, the year of our Lord, please tweet that at KPAFG 5387 358. Oh no!
Yeah, no, no, you had it right the first time.
I don't think I did.
FG 5387.
That's KPAFF 3587. Tweet that.
It's gonna be me.
It's the worst. And again, I know that's terribly old man of me.
It is.
Shaking my fist at, in this case, literally the internet.
The cloud. Yeah,
yes.
Your old man shakes fist at cloud.
Right. That's me here. But that bugs me to no end. I don't know why I find that the opposite of humor, but call me the Republican Party. I can't find a joke right now. I just refuse to accept that.
Oh, boy, can't they? Boy, oh, boy.
Man, I would love to do a whole side discussion about that, but I said to you right before we started recording, I don't know if we've ever been as jam-packed with stuff we need to talk about as today.
Yeah, it's all stupid stuff.
How dare you?
I think
this is our bread and butter here, Steve. You're going to call this stupid in light of recent weeks where we have instigated a Twitter ice cream debate and created
what a week it's been for the Steve and Kyle social media accounts.
Oh my goodness. And that was a week after we created a new candy bar.
Yeah, the Lucky Billy bar is really making headway in the confectionery world.
It's taking the world by storm. Now, listen, if you're new to the Lucky Billy brand, now it's a chocolate-based candy bar with just a touch of pretzel and absolutely never any nuts.
Now, we disagree on a lot of things here on this podcast. We disagree on Ben & Jerry's versus Halo Top. We've disagreed on a myriad of other things. Suspension bridges versus covered bridges.
Oh, boy, yeah.
But the one thing that we can agree on, the one thing that I'm Kim Jong-un and you're the other guy from the South.
I think President Moon was his name.
And, yeah, I mean, this is the only time I want to beat Kim Jong-un. But we're meeting in the Reflection Village or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
In the shadow of both North and South Korea to shake hands and end the 70-year war.
Yeah.
Because we can both agree that the Lucky Billy bar is the greatest candy bar ever created.
There's no question. Now, listen, I don't care what your stupid fake poll said on the internet, because this is ripe for a repolling in the near future. Lucky Billy versus Snickers, which is we're coming for the king. You're
looking to chop the head off.
Yeah, what? Anybody can take down the Three Musketeer.
Oh, garbage.
Right? And I don't even hate the Three Musketeer, but listen, you're low-hanging fruit. We're swatting you down on the way to the top. We're going for King Snicker. Okay, and their stupid ad campaigns. And I noticed today, I took a picture. It's on our social media at Steve and Kyle and Facebook.com/Steve and Kyle. I think the easiest takedown we have, and this was part of the entire rant initially, Steve, is the garbage Charleston Chew.
Yeah.
What is it, by the way?
It's, I'm assuming it's caramel, right? Chew, that's where the chew comes from.
They're selling what can only be described as about 36 inches of this nonsense for $1. So if you're telling me there's no place in this market for a Lucky Billy bar?
I'll tell you what, though, 36 inches of it for $1. That's probably the best. I bet that's the most distance of candy for your dollar.
There's no question. If you're talking inch per penny and in your candy shopping, the Charleston Chew is getting your buck.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. That's, you are overestimating, but not by much.
It's a big bar.
I bet it's an 18-inch candy bar.
It's like when they had Slim Jims seem comically long.
Yeah.
Right? And these Charleston Chews are bigger than that. So you have to check that out.
Yeah.
That's our first target. I think there's no way they're on Twitter. We need to instigate a beef with Charleston Chew.
Oh, give me 1 minute. I will find them. And if they're there, I will tweet at them.
Hey, we're coming for your garbage candy.
Oh, boy. Not looking good.
No?
Well, there's a few people that go by Charleston Chew.
They're squatting.
There's Miss Charleston Chew. There's Charlie Girl 314. No. There's Cyberbully Billy.
Whoa, okay. Not. We need to get... Oh, I'm not even going to say it out loud. We need to squat on the Lucky Billy Twitter handle.
Don't you think I'm doing that?
We got to get on that. In lieu of not being able to instigate a social media beef with the Charleston Chew candy bar, I need to find somebody with the last name Charleston, and we need to instigate a beef with them.
All right, I'm already mad.
Oh, come on.
Billy Harris at Lucky Billy. He has not tweeted since October 8th of 2010.
Oh, man.
And he said, does anyone by chance know how to unlock the Democrats and Republicans in NBA Jam?
So he used this insanely valuable Twitter account.
Yeah.
To ask about a cheat code from an arcade game 15 years before that.
Boy, he has tweeted total 6 times.
Oh, my God.
All 6 times about NBA Jam.
How many followers does he have?
6.
Those are ours. We need those 6 followers. Can we send him a message and say, hey, can we have your Twitter handle?
Hold on. I think I have a workaround. Perfect.
Oh, boy. Did you use one for Billy?
No, Lucky Billy Bar.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
This page does not exist.
Well, it's about to.
So if somebody will do us a favor and set that page up.
Oh, you're not going to do it right now? You just wanted to search for it?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it didn't exist.
Huh. I mean, it seems right that somebody's just going to take it now.
I mean, I can squat on it if you want.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll just leave it to one of our listeners. I'm sure they'll give it up.
Yeah, Zach will find it. He's got all the artwork already.
I bet you Zach's Lucky Billy. On Twitter.
Oh, you think? You think he knew this 8 years in advance?
He clearly knows enough about the internet that maybe he backdated some tweets.
Yeah.
And is just really into NBA Jam.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen, we never really did post that video, or maybe we did. The Lucky Billy Bar is in live in person. Zach made it with the paper wrapping.
Yeah, he said that he ordered specific the wrapping, the print paper specifically for making candy bar wrappers.
Now, if anybody's willing to make a candy bar, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I actually had last week after we finished recording, towards the end of the episode, I had gone onto Amazon and found candy bar molds, and I had it pulled up, and I had all intention of ordering it, and then I said to myself, even if you order this, you're not going to make candy bars in the next week.
And even then, we wouldn't have the paper.
Click. X'd out of it.
We wouldn't have the paper.
Yeah, I'm sure Zach would have sent us some.
We need to figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Properly. Because I don't want, wrapper while we're slapping Elmer's on the inside of some paper and wrapping up Lucky Billy bars. But I need in my possession, and for our mantle, for APS 3.0 and soon to be 4.0, we need a Lucky Billy bar.
Now, hear me out on this. I'm a big fan of dark chocolate. Do you think that we could have a Lucky Billy special dark edition?
Boy, that feels borderline race problematic.
Why?
Dark Lucky Billy, like a Lucky Billy dark.
No, special.
So
dark,
do we leave the character of a man that we currently have on that label? Do we leave him a Caucasian man?
We can swap it out if you want.
I feel like that's a terrible mistake.
That's probably a worse move. Yeah, maybe leave. We got to leave Billy as he. By the way, I wanted to know, who is Billy? Is that a guy from just stockphotos.com?
Yeah, boy, we should really hope that that's a stock photo for free use, because if not, we're going to owe that man all of the money we've made off Lucky Billy.
Yeah, lots and lots of money.
He'll be paid as soon as the APS is paid off.
Yeah.
Oh man!
So it's been a big week. We had a web poll posted last week, both on Twitter and on Facebook. It was, which is better? Are you Team Steve, which is Ben and Jerry's, or are you Team Kyle, which is Halo Top?
Yeah.
You hear that one, by the way?
Yeah, that was like a setback too. It's like you moved your head so the body could do the work. And I appreciated that, because you're trying, you really give us some oomph into the microphone.
Yeah. So if you want to make
now I can mark that. All right, beautiful.
Yeah. So we had the polls up on Facebook and Twitter, and by the narrowest of margins,
this thing came down to today, and really calling in all the recruits to see if they could make the difference. But sadly, Steve, in the very, very end,
do we announce it? Because I think we need some.
Oh, you have some music? Okay.
Yeah.
In the world's debate of Ben and Jerry's versus Halo Top, Ben and Jerry's comes out on top.
Like I said, the slimmest of margins.
Yeah, I
think on Facebook or on Twitter it was 88% Ben and Jerry's to just 12%.
It's okay, because the other social media account was closer. It was 89 to 11. So, thank you to those valiant, hard-fighting Halo Top warriors.
Yeah.
For battling what's right in this world.
The one thing I noticed, everyone who did vote, or everyone who commented in Halo Top's favor, there was always some weird stipulation that you had to follow in order to make Halo Top taste better. It was always something like, yeah, well, you need to open it a half hour before you're going to eat it, and then you have to throw it in the dryer for a half hour, but on a tumble cycle.
No, you rub it with some steel wool. It really brings out the flavor in it.
You know what I like? When I just open up ice cream and I can start eating it right away, instead of there are these hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now before the podcast, we were talking about how your allegiance to your friends at Halo Top, is it Halo Top Creamery, I believe?
Yeah.
They're not exactly on your good side right now.
No, it's wavering. You may have.
Are you thinking of
You may have a
joining the flock?
But here's the thing: I'm not coming in as like Private Kyle, right? I'm coming in as Lieutenant.
Okay, so you want some rank right off the bat.
I need some status if I'm gonna Benedict Arnold these guys over here.
Okay. How about Major? You take Major?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Major's a good title.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even coy about it. I begged those idiots for some assistance last week on Twitter. I said, I'm being overrun by lunatics. Please help me.
Do you think that they possibly took a gander at the web poll results and thought, nah, we're not going to win this one, so we'll just back off?
If I'm Halo Top Creamery, when I look at those web poll results, I see opportunity.
Well, surely there are. I'm sure that they have millions of follows. All they would have had to do was simply retweet, and they would have won in a
landslide. We would have crushed it. That's all either of them had to do.
But Ben and Jerry's did get involved.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a young tech-savvy person. We've talked about this before, how these well-established companies hire tech-savvy millennials to run their social media. So it's like, hey, slide into our DMs, and we'll talk about fish food.
It's usually the airlines.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That you see people with customer service issues a lot, like your big cable, whatever. Your big box companies seem to have yet to come around on those. But you've got people like Ben and Jerry's who happen to be tagged in our poll. Mm-hmm. Take notice of that.
Yeah. Now they weren't tagged by us because I didn't seek out the official accounts of anyone. Somebody who replied to our poll brought them into the loop.
Right.
Tagged them.
And I didn't sway anything. I think it's fair to say when the poll was launched, we actually launched it while we were recording last week's episode. Mm-hmm. And I have a tweet in my personal Twitter. It's from Melissa. I wonder if it was, I think, Lauren. Like, LOL, how does that 3% taste? So somehow, with the final tally at 89% to 11%, it actually is improved from where it started, which was 97 to 3. And that wasn't with one vote or 5 votes. No, there was like 30, 40 votes.
Yeah.
And I really thought my Halo Top Warriors were weekend voters. They were not.
No, they definitely weren't.
It did not balance it out. So Halo Top bites the bullet. But that all sets the stage, Steve. As I questioned my allegiance, as Halo Top would not come to the rescue of me and my army.
They would not.
And I now consider jumping ship, going to the Ben and Jerry's army.
All right, we're happy to have you.
Consider.
Happy to have you.
Heading into a big occasion for us, Steve, that should be available online this weekend sometime. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it, and now this is a loose end. You and I and your bride Annette we're tying those shoelaces. We're tying those loose ends.
Yeah.
What do we have this week for the listeners this weekend and viewers this upcoming weekend?
Well, last week when we were recording, Annette was grocery shopping. So while this whole debate was going on, I sent her a text saying, can you pick up 4 pints of ice cream?
Yeah.
Various flavors, as long as there's a Ben and... Well, I asked her to try and get the same flavors.
Of all brands.
Yeah, so whether it's all like chocolate chip cookie dough or something like that. But there has to be a Ben and Jerry's, there has to be a Halo Top, and then store brand and maybe Breyers or Edie's or something. We have that. It is in the freezer right now.
So
it's in a bag that is tied shut, so I can't even look in there. I can't peek. I have zero inside info.
Yeah.
I don't know which other brands. I don't know what flavors we have. So we're gonna have a blind taste test.
Yep.
Where we will not know what brand we are eating, and then we will have to give honest votes.
Yeah, so
I hope that you vote for.
There's a good chance. There's a very good chance. Now, and one of my main points of contention in this has been that I think a Ben and Jerry compared to your run-of-the-mill generic store brand or your middle brand, your Edie's or Breyers, is negligent. I don't think I'll be able to notice a difference.
Okay.
Now,
But
I admitted to you right before recording, maybe I should try Halo Top again, because maybe
when was the last time you had it?
Probably a year ago.
Oh boy!
Well, I mean, you don't have to.
Well, I mean, the way that you were beating that drum, I thought that you were like driving to work every day with a
pint in my hand,
a pint, just gnawing away.
Well, listen, not all of us live on the top of the world, Steve, where we've got the king's couch in our basement.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
So not all of us can afford the Halo Top, the Ben and Jerry's of the world, all that often.
By the way, Annette did say that the Ben and Jerry's was significantly cheaper. It was more than $1 cheaper.
Really, because I feel like when they're both regular price, they're similar. So I mean, we're disregarding sale prices or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
not what this is about. It's about the taste only.
Yeah.
Everyone who talks about, it's better for you, doesn't matter. It's not what we're talking about. If we do a contest about healthy ice creams, Halo Top may win.
Right. So I think we each taste the 4. Mm-hmm. Maybe probably different. I think different. So we'll have to have somebody know what they're giving us. So I'll be tasting the Ben and Jerry's. You'll be tasting the Edie's, whatever. Yeah. And we write down at the end, like my first one was my favorite, my set, whatever. And then we find out. So
I think we have to find the scorecards that they would use in like a food contest.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, well, I give it 6 points for its flavor and 3 points for texture.
So we need categories then.
We do. We need categories.
Boy, this is getting Iron Chefy that I don't know if I'm qualified to comment on these.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we should just rank them by taste. Probably.
Just like, hey, I like this one the best and this one was the worst and whatever. Number 2 and 3 were the same. Whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's coming your way. Stay tuned. That'll be video. And if you don't want to watch the video or you want to find out, we'll have some audio of that next week as well.
Yeah, I think what we'll probably do, we'll probably just post it on our YouTube and then tweet about it.
Yeah. So there'll be a lot of ways to find it. There's that going on. There is, we need to send out a thanks both to Chris Pruitt, who we haven't posted enough of his billboards. This is the guy who, when we say the word billboard, he has billboards in our inbox in minutes.
He's got a template. Yeah, he somehow listens as we're recording.
Yeah.
It seems like we have them by the time we're done.
And I promise you, Chris and everybody else, I'm going to do a better job of posting more of those because we haven't done very good. Mm-hmm. But this week, I couldn't help but post the billboards made by our friend and somebody we need to talk to. He's actually either next on the list or second on the list for 2 minutes of awkward conversation, Steve. Mm-hmm. Carl Furrow. Now, Carl sent us these updated billboards regarding our show mantras from, is it last week or 2 weeks ago, I want to say?
Yeah.
And they are absolutely gorgeous. I don't have, apparently my app closed.
Well, we have the one, it's a billboard. It says, "The new leaders in podcasting."
Yeah, yes.
With a picture of us, with a little asterisk after podcasting. Then underneath the photo, 10 speeds, nuts, words. And then very small print, the asterisk means within a 4.5 block radius of Steve's house.
Which is what we said. That is the area that I feel comfortable saying we are the most listened to podcast. So Carl sent that one, and that was beautifully well done. Again, these are on our social media at Steve and Kyle and Facebook.com/Steve and Kyle. So be sure to see these if you haven't. The other one, though, will never fail
Looking at it right now.
to make me laugh.
It's a picture of you from just after you had your surgery last year.
Yeah.
You're wearing a Steve and Kyle messenger bag.
Beautifully done.
Wearing it way too high, though. I mean, it's like,
well, because remember, we were trying to figure it out because my crutches.
Right.
So I didn't. That was by necessity. Don't think I don't know how to wear a man bag.
So you're wearing your Steve and Kyle messenger bag. Yeah. You have your crutches in hand. Mm-hmm. And the billboard has the quote, "Hobblin' and bobblin' with a hitch in his giddy up."
Which is, again, the way you described my effort as I Derek Jetered a ground ball at practice of softball
Derek Jeter.
a week and a half ago to the roars of the crowd as I flipped the ball across the diamond for a fictional out in slow pitch softball. You described me as hobblin' and bobblin' with a hitch in my giddy up.
That's right. Yep.
So those are always welcome. And again, we thought this billboard campaign keeps getting larger and larger to the point where we couldn't afford one billboard. And here we are at easily a dozen.
Yeah.
But please keep those coming. Thank you to Carl. Thank you to Chris Pruitt. Those are tremendous efforts. Chris has all the acronyms, the stupid acronymed ones that we joke about and talk about. Those are all buried somewhere in his DM, so we'll have to start posting those slowly because they're well worth viewing and trying to remember. What the hell are they talking about? They have a 13-letter acronym.
I think we need to crowdfund enough money to put up a billboard, but nowhere where, like, not around us, not where we live.
No, absolutely.
We throw a dart at a map.
Okay.
And then we call up the outdoor media company there and say, 1 billboard, 1 week, please.
And then
here's your artwork.
I think no matter where it is, we take the cheapest rate.
Yeah.
Like, we're not getting picky. We don't need highway or freeway. Now, have you seen the movie 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri?
I haven't.
But are you familiar with...
Yeah.
Well, it said Ebbing, Missouri, with billboards that are like 300 feet in front of this woman's house next to a farm, ground level. That's what I want.
Yeah.
That we absolutely need to do that. We need to crowdfund this because we don't like to ask for money for us. Most podcasts, when they're 90 episodes deep and still in the red, would have started a Patreon or whatever to get money. No, not interested.
We'd have to set up an account. Like you saw, I didn't even want to... I found the Twitter handle that we wanted.
Yeah.
And I just said, there it is.
But here's what we need. I think we set a stupid goal because it doesn't matter about the goal, I don't think. We just see how much we can get over like a 30-day period. Mm-hmm. And however much that is, we start calling the city on the map that we will legitimately... I have a dartboard. Mm-hmm. We will legitimately throw a dart at the map, pick a town, put up a billboard of our choosing. Now, it will obviously include our faces. Mm-hmm. It will include one of our quotes or acronyms with no context.
No.
And then our Twitter and Facebook handles.
Well, no, I think what we should do is put up a website so we can set up analytics so we can specifically track how many hits we get. And we'll never talk about the what URL it is until after the billboard comes down.
Yeah.
So we can get honest and accurate tracking to see how many people actually went to that website.
But then don't we need to go there?
Absolutely. We'll be local celebrities.
So we're going to need to throw that dart like Midwest unless we want to drive for a day and a half.
It's got to be either that or line it up with like a vacation or something.
Huh. Oregon. I don't know if that's going to fly.
Neat.
Yeah.
It's at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, right. So I think this is something this is a fantastic idea. This is one more endeavor the Steve and Kyle podcast will not dedicate itself to.
No chance.
But it's easy enough to set up a crowdfunding site, right? But is there one that we can set up where if we don't hit our stupid goal, we can either change the goal so it will hit, or we can
keep the money?
Keep the money.
Yeah.
And now again, boy, that sounds awful to say it that way.
Well, if you're willing to donate $10 to a billboard, you're willing to just give us $10.
Yeah, and I don't care if this thing goes to $75. But if there's something that happens to where we cannot, like, the money raised does not equate the billboard cost at anywhere.
Right.
We'll refund the money. I wonder
how much a billboard is.
I don't know. Because you're
obviously
essentially paying for the vinyl, the ink, the color, all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think that the rate is probably determined by the amount of cars that drive by. Like, I think that they have all that data. So they know how many cars are driving down Route 206 in Sheboygan.
Oh, that's not too bad.
What do you got?
So I just typed in average billboard cost. Now, how much does billboard advertising cost? Printing an advertisement on vinyl for a bulletin billboard, 14 by 48 or almost 700 square feet of material, will cost between $300 and $500.
Okay, so that's
hang on.
That's just the printing.
Oh, never mind. Oh, dude, so do we get that? Like, if we're paying for it to be printed, that's ours.
I think so.
I want that 700 square feet in this house.
So yeah, we put up wallpaper in here.
In this whole basement, the Steve and Kyle podcast. There will also be cost to design the billboard. Budgeting $500 to $1,000 would be beneficial.
No, we have our design.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't need some artsy fartsy wannabe when I tell him, here's a picture of me with a messenger bag, thinking that he has some better idea. That's not what I want at all. I want him to take what we send him, blow it up 1 million times, and I want it to be one of those where they blow it up and you lose all picture quality.
It's just pixel. It looks like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because it's all just blocks.
So obviously we're not looking for these, but in the home city of Boston, bulletins range from 11,000 to 23,000 per month. Not doing that.
Okay.
Midwestern Milwaukee, 3,000 to 4,000 per 4 weeks. So,
whoa.
But those markets are still massive.
We can do that.
We need.
I'd even be willing to donate some of my own money. Very generous of me, I know.
Yeah. I think if we look for what's a market?
Very noble cause.
You're in the radio industry, Steve. Like, what number market would Milwaukee be? Top 50, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's. I would say, I think top 75 for sure.
So we need like 10 times lower than that. So we need like the 750th market.
Oh, there's only like 300
on the radio.
Yeah, there's only like 300 rated markets.
I'm just saying this is totally spitballing, but it's on Google. What's your thoughts on switching this to a bus advertisement?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's time to make this thing national, Steve. And I think by literally picking a small town in the middle of nowhere and putting it on the world's worst bill. I don't want lights because you have to pay for that.
Well, it's like when Budweiser does those weird Super Bowl ads that only run in like one town in the entire country. And it's got Will Ferrell or something doing something stupid. Like, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We're looking for that like, hey, wait a minute. Did you see the billboard? What's that all about?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then fast forward 2 years, they're giving us the key to the city as we ride in on a float.
Yeah, and we're celebrating Steve and Kyle Day.
Yeah.
This is how this ends, right? With millions of downloads and a Steve and Kyle Day in like the world's 443rd market.
If I don't have to take at least one day off from work to go to accept a key to the city,
you think you're going to be working?
This is a failure.
You think you're going to be working? There's no chance. This thing's going to give us riches. Riches, I tell you.
Beyond our wildest dreams.
So I did find... No, this is happening. We're going to look into this. If the show wasn't so jam-packed, I would continue to look at this because plan on this crowdfunding website being posted. Yeah. Do not feel obligated to put a dime into this.
Feel obligated. But in fact, tweet at us with the hashtag billboard money and tell us how much you are willing to donate.
Yeah.
Now, if it's anything like when we tweeted about T-shirts, everyone will say that they're interested, and then when it comes time to pay up, 0 people will pay, leaving us with an excess, a surplus of T-shirts that we have to sell off one at a time over 6 months.
And I think the offer will stand. I mean, if you donate any money to this stupid cause, you are you're automatically on the list for 2 minutes of awkward conversation if that's what you'd like. If you donate in in your own podcast name, obviously we'll come on your podcast. We'll do that. I'm not going to make like a Kickstarter because I'm not giving any benefits. Those are it.
No,
donate money, and maybe we'll talk to you on the phone and make fun of you for 3 minutes. That's like your best case scenario. But this is going to be posted, so stay tuned for that link as Steve and Kyle try to go national, maybe international. I don't know where you're dart throwing.
Slowest way possible. I mean, in the age of social media and the internet, and we're the show getting a billboard.
Yeah, we're
trying
to
drum up advertising.
Getting a billboard in the year 2018, bypassing that hot new media like bench ads, bus ads. I mean, we could sit in the comfort of our own homes and pay for a Google ad.
Yeah.
That would no doubt be fortuitous in some way. Like, it would be fruitful, right?
Yeah.
But no, what fun is that when we can put our faces in the middle of Mississippi, like 2 miles from a hovercraft rental place?
Yeah, I mean, targeted social media advertising? No way. Stick me up on the little sheet where you rip off the phone number in the grocery store on your way out.
Oh, my goodness. Amazing. So, let's see. We can get a junior small billboard. This is just a total general cost.
It's junior
It's an
small?
8-sheet poster.
No.
Okay.
Sounds too small.
It's
got junior and small in the title.
Range of $300 to $750 per location for a 4-week period.
Oh, boy. We could really blanket a market with that.
That's doable. 30-sheet poster, which is a medium, that goes from $750 to $2,000 per month.
No, way too much. Well, I mean, it
large
depends.
billboard is $1,500 to $30,000 per 4 week.
It all depends on how generous you are and how much money you want to give to us.
Every dollar matters. Now, this isn't a charity. I'm not helping kids. That's not what's happening here.
No.
I'm not helping the sick, the elderly, those afflicted in third world countries.
It's their fault.
We're trying to...
Well, it sure as hell ain't mine.
I don't know if in a million years I've ever heard somebody sound so much like Ebenezer Scrooge in the Christmas Carol than right there.
It's their fault. It's not mine.
Why should I give a damn? All right. Oh, so stay tuned for that campaign. My goodness. What should we jump into? Should we talk about the softball game?
Oh yeah,
that we had last week, the kickoff to the 2018 season.
Real quick, I wanted to ask you: did you notice anything when you pulled up?
Oh my goodness, I did, Steve. You heard it during the intro. I said last week when I pulled up, on the side of the driveway was what I called a shining beacon of failure, and that is no more. It has been replaced by the shining beacon of old news.
That's right. The old Subaru is parked out in the driveway now.
Yeah.
Because I'm driving the Jeep.
Oh, my gosh. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, 4 weeks.
Just 1 month ahead of my deadline.
Yeah.
For Big Boy Vroom Vroom up the sandhill.
Yep. As we've talked about, you're celebrating your birthday, your 37th birthday.
Yep.
At the Sandhills.
Yep. That's actually, no, I'm not.
I'm doing Big Boy Vroom Vroom. You're bringing a net. She's going to be sitting shotgun, hair whipping in the wind while you do hot laps in the dirt.
It's weird that was the deadline because I never had any plans to go there for my birthday. Never.
You're like a kid who wants to go to the go-kart place for his birthday. But with you, it's just a big dirt hill. So I feel like we could drop you off at a construction site where they dug out the basement of a house and just say, here you go, man. And just have you climb up mud hills.
So last week after our softball game, or before our softball game, I had to drive out, drop the Jeep off so Officer so-and-so could check it out.
We were nervous, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you should have been. I was
I didn't hear this.
Well, no, nothing really.
Okay.
It just ended up being further than we thought.
Right.
And then we stopped for dinner on the way back.
Okay.
And we're sitting there eating, and I'm like mid-bite of my Baja wrap. And I was like, oh, geez, game starts in 15 minutes. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Drove over to the park. I got changed in the parking lot.
Oh, did you? So it was that. Okay.
Yeah. And then ran up just as we were taking the field. Got a text on the way there from the officer saying, everything's good. You are good to go.
That fast?
That fast.
That's an hour?
Yeah. Yeah, about an hour.
Man, you could have stuck around. Well, it would have been. You wouldn't have made the start of the game.
I wouldn't have made it
right.
back. Well, I mean, I could have, but I wouldn't have been able to get dinner, and that was priority at the point.
The priority should have been the team you
No. There's 12 games. You'd be all right without me for one of them.
But you eat a Baja wrap.
Well, in hindsight, you would have been fine without me.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you were going to be the difference either way.
No. Although I did go 3 for 5. Just a little teaser.
We'll talk about it.
We'll spoil it.
We'll talk about it. That is
not accurate.
That is not in the baseball scorekeeping rules.
Oh, do you have the scorecard for last game?
Oh, God.
Oh, it seems as though there's...
No, that's how we'll play.
I mean, I'm not lying because I if I was lying, I'd say I went 5 for 5, hitting for the cycle, and then an extra
a double to boot,
an extra double thrown in there.
Yeah,
but no, I'm being honest. 3 for 5. I reached base on 3.
Okay, now that okay. There we go. Now we'll come back to that. So you race up to the field,
yeah,
And at this point, you just want the game to be over so you can go get your hot rod.
That's right. So the game ended, and we were out of there fast. Hit the road. Drove out there. I picked the thing up, drove it back. And at this point, the officer left me a bunch of paperwork. He said, take this to the Secretary of State. You're good to go. Great. So my plan for Thursday after work, I had all the paperwork with me in the car. I'm going to go right to the Secretary of State, get this taken care of. I'll be cruising by lunchtime.
Yeah.
Well, you know how things work with me, Kyle, and it was not without incident.
So at this point, you have the softball game, 7:15 first pitch. Mm-hmm. Best case scenario, we're out of there in 45. That's probably best case. Yeah. Most likely an hour.
Yeah.
Which you had told me even on the podcast, and after last week, you said, yeah, I'll just go get it after work. No big deal.
Yep, which I did. Actually, no. So we picked it up after the game. I wanted to have it that night.
You drove. That has to have been 55 minutes there, an hour?
Yeah, about that, 45 to 50.
What is it with you? I mean, you used to... Now, you're a guy, you put your phone on silent at 6:15 at night because you don't want to be bothered, right? Yeah. And now, in the last 3 weeks, on a Monday night, after recording, you've driven an hour and a half to get a Jeep part.
Needed that axle.
There and back.
Yeah.
And now on a Wednesday night... At 8:15, you drive an hour out to get your Jeep and 35 minutes back.
Yeah. So we got it all. Everything was good. Mm-hmm. Next day, I went to the Secretary of State after work. Walk in there, and it's the busiest I've ever seen it. So
did you go to the one like by our house, or did you go to one by your work?
No, by us.
Okay.
So before I left work, I did the thing where you check in online.
Oh, they have that now.
Yeah, you get your spot in line. And I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Because when it sends you a return text saying, I was 26th in line. And it said that I had approximately 24 minutes until I was up.
26th in line?
26th.
And they told you 24 minutes?
Yeah.
Boy, that feels... Now, knowing... And everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knowing their DMV, or in our case, the Secretary of State. That's aggressive.
Very. So I go straight there. Now, the thing is, even when you check in online, when you first get in there, you still have to go to window number 1.
Sure.
To say, hey, this is what I'm doing. They give you the form, or they write down a little note so you can hand it to the teller that calls you. So as I'm standing in line for... the first window, they call my number.
So what happens? You go to the back?
No, so I have to still wait. I'm standing there. I'm like, I'm right here, but I hadn't gotten to the front of the first line yet. So I get to the front of the first line 5 minutes later. The woman says, okay, here you go. Gives me all these forms. And then she said, okay, were you already signed in? And I said, yeah, but they already called my number. So she said, no problem. I'll put you back in line.
Like bottom, top
okay,
of the list?
All right. So I didn't ask. So I'm sitting there, and there's a big TV monitor that has your rank.
Yeah.
Because it's like 1 through 30 on the first screen.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, no. I don't see my number up there. I don't think she put me back in line.
Oh no.
So instead of getting up and walking 6 feet back to the window,
you waited out
because I'm afraid. I instead pulled out my phone, and I had a text from the last time that they had sent me the automated text saying, like, do you want to get back in line? So I replied to the text, yes. And then sure enough, there I am, number 30 in line.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
So now this is... You've had a bad habit of this. Now, this is not the Steve I know. I know Jersey Steve, tough guy Steve, tell it like it is Steve, and give me a Stromboli on the side. But now this is the second time where you allowed the sheriff's department to walk all over you for about a week without returning your phone calls.
Yeah.
And now instead of going and asking, hey, did you ever put me back on the list? You waited 30 people.
Yeah, I waited there easily 45 minutes, which just goes to prove you that the whole 26th in line and it would be 24 minutes, no chance.
Right. Well, I mean, it was because they called you, right?
Yeah.
So 26 in line did take 24 minutes, but 56 in line took about an hour.
A little longer.
Yeah.
So I finally get to the front of the line. They finally call my number. I walk up, and I am beaming at this point, smiling ear to ear, thinking, just minutes from now, the old Jeepster's going to be legal.
Yeah, you're going to walk outside, you're going to kick your roof off, rip off the freedom panels, throw those suckers in the back, head to the lake. Right? That's where you're headed? Go do some off-roading?
Do some jet skiing. So I hand the woman all my paperwork. I told her, I'm trying to register a salvage vehicle. Here's all my inspection paperwork. She said, okay, do you have your receipts from this, this, and this? Yep, here you go. Handed her all the receipts. And then we sat there for about 6-7 minutes. She's just staring at a computer screen.
Not even click.
Yeah,
typing.
the occasional, I don't know, it looked like she was playing Tetris. Like
just maybe like checking Facebook, maybe playing Snake.
Maybe. Every now and then kind of gets like the furrowed brow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man. Something's going wrong. Here we go.
Not surprising.
Not surprising at all. She said, the vehicle I bought was from Oklahoma. She said, yeah, I have to confirm with the state of Oklahoma that this vehicle, that this is the most recent title. Oh. I said, okay. She said, man, it's weird. I've never had an issue with this before, which is how things are always proceeded with me. I've never had this issue before, but it's weird. I'm having it with this. I can't get the system to confirm it. I'm like, okay, so what do we do? Well, I'm going to have to call
Oklahoma?
Yeah, just the state.
Like, hey, Mr. Oklahoma.
It's Michigan. Did you sell Steve a Jeep?
Got a Jeep up here.
So I said, okay, can you do it? And she said, yeah, I mean, I put in a request. I said, okay, how long does that take for them to hear back or for them to get back to you? Well, it could be a few hours, could be a few days, could be a few weeks.
Oh my God.
I was like, weeks? No, I refuse to agree.
Yeah.
I refuse to accept that in this information technological age we're in, that anything takes a few weeks.
It doesn't. That's
not.
That's idiotic.
So I was dismissed. I was sent home.
So this is mid-afternoon Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. So she said to me,
I can't believe it. After
give me your number and I'll call you when it's in.
Sure, just like that lady's going to put you at the top of the list.
Sure, yeah, no problem. And she said, but good news is when you come back, you don't have to wait in this line. You get to go to the return line.
Hey.
Great.
Yeah.
So I left there kind of upset, but hey, what can I do? Nothing I can do. Went to work on Friday, but she did say, oh, if you're in the area, it might be okay to stop in and just check.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, but you just said you'd call me.
No.
Why do I have to stop in? That makes me think you're going to forget to call me.
No, man, you're just going to zip around. You're thinking, you know what? Enough cruising the boulevard. Mm-hmm. Let me go whip into this government office.
Yeah.
See what they got for me.
For some quick info.
Yeah.
Well, who's the dummy that did that?
Oh, my God,
This
Steve.
guy.
You can't get out of your own way. I love it.
I pulled up to the Secretary of State. I didn't even get out of my car because the line on Friday was out the door. I was like, nope, not happening. Drove home and fell asleep. Took a nap. At 2 o'clock, I was awoken by a phone call.
Oklahoma?
Is that you? Now, the woman at the Secretary of State said, "This is it. When I call you, it's going to come from a blocked number."
Yeah.
So I wake up, blocked number is calling me. I'm like, oh, this is it. So I did that thing where you try to act like you're not asleep when you answer the phone. So,
hello?
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 This is Steve not sleeping.
It's the middle of the day. Why would any grown adult be
Yes, I'm under my blankie right now with my teddy bear. So she said, hey, I got it's so-and-so from the Secretary of State. Everything's good. Come on in.
Hey.
I was like, sweet. I was so excited that I immediately fell back to sleep.
Oh.
So I woke up. I was on this couch right here behind me.
Yeah, the king's couch.
The king's couch. I woke up at 4:15 to Annette standing in the doorway going, Steve. That's
Oklahoma?
she just looks at me. She's like, what are you doing? Taking a nap?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what time is it? 4:15. Oh, God, I gotta go. Oklahoma. So,
Yeah, just yelling nonsense at her. Return line, Oklahoma salvage.
So I jumped in my car, drove over there. Luckily, it's only a 5-minute drive or 10-minute drive. And the line somehow was longer. It was
on.
It was out the door and down the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she said I didn't have to wait in the line.
Darn right you did.
So I did the old, excuse me,
Yeah.
holding my little pass that says return,
Yeah.
holding it up like to prove, hey, I'm not skipping the line. I'm going to the return line. And even if I was, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. Not going to do a thing.
What are you, Johnny 4 o'clock? You want to
Yeah.
get here at 4 o'clock, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I was taking a nap, but that's beside the point.
So I walked in, and I felt like everyone in there was looking at me. And I walked up to the return line. There was one guy standing under the return line sign.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I was like, you in the return line? He goes, yeah. Is there anyone else in the return line? He said, no. I guess I'm in the return line then.
Yeah.
So I stood there. Within 10 minutes, I was walking out the door with all the paperwork. Bam, bam, stamped, signed, sealed, delivered. Paid my little fee to get everything done. And I'm driving now.
Look at that.
I am cruising.
So you're all set up. The Jeep works. The seat belts are there.
Yeah.
The murder's been scrubbed
Yeah.
of the dash.
Yeah. Only one minor issue so far.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
everything's good, though.
Okay, lay it on me before I ask you the other questions. What is your quote unquote minor issue that you've encountered in the? This would be the
minor?
4th day that you've been driving it around legally. Minor issue. What is it?
I left work today, and it's a beautiful sunny day here.
Kick the door off again, or kick the roof off.
I took the freedom panels out.
Yep. Also known as doors.
Which require no freedom panels are the roof.
Oh, so you took the roof off.
Took the panels of the roof off.
Yep. Okay.
And you have to there's like a big twisty knob that you have to take out to loosen it. I dropped one of them as I was loading the freedom panels into the back of the Jeep.
No worries, right?
No worries. It's made of plastic.
No, it doesn't
big
break.
deal. No, it doesn't break. Yeah. Unless you forget about it and then drive over it.
Oh my God. I mean,
something that used to be shaped like the letter T is now shaped kind of like a W.
I mean,
some extra bends in it.
There's a track record of driving through things that are there that you shouldn't be driving through, Steve. This one might take the cake after months of work where you're sitting there, no doubt, like, no, don't rest it on the Jeep. I don't want to scratch the new paint. Yet you run over a roof panel.
No, not the whole panel.
Oh, okay.
Just the big knob that holds the panel in as I'm driving down the road.
So you mow that down like Gravedigger at the Monster Jam.
Yeah, it's ruined.
Oh my God! So you have no roof on it. Won't go back on right now.
I can put it back on.
Yeah, you just have to hold it.
Yeah. So I've read that there are people that are like, nah, you don't need them.
Yeah.
Why do they come with them?
So you're one of the people who goes to the store to buy a TV and a Ford Fiesta, and now you've got your arm around the top of it, hoping it doesn't slip off on the expressway.
or like a mattress.
Yeah, just waving in the wind, right? You're just hoping to not catch a breeze so it doesn't fly off. So now you're going to fix it, right? You're going to buy a new part?
Yeah.
Is that like in the mail from a guy on a Facebook group?
No, I think this will be one that I'll probably go new.
Okay.
Get one. They're about $18 or so. So
yeah. So not expensive. But the last time we needed something not expensive, it took us 6 months to order a headphone splitter. So I'm hopeful by August you have this thing in hand.
Yeah.
So
Jesus. Yeah. So
Now,
there's the tale.
I can't believe that. You mow it down. You probably shook your head. Maybe thought about throwing a can of gas in there and just lighting the whole thing on fire.
Whoa.
That's a nice buzz.
Oh, we do away with that.
Now, without giving away any numbers, Steve, because that's not the important part here, when you pitched this idea to Annette of consolidating your cars from your 3 to adding a 4th.
No, it was 3 to a different 3 and eventually a 2.
To 2. You no doubt had a fiscal plan in mind of a number to buy the Jeep, a number to renovate the Jeep,
I don't
and
really
a number
feel like numbers are important here. What's important is the it's the experience and
you no doubt Steve had a budget in mind
and the things things learned.
I don't doubt that the memories that you and Bob and Annette will share forever.
I mean, what have I told you? That a dollar amount can't dictate the feeling you get from a job well done.
What if I told you that in fact it could?
Well, let me repeat. What if I told you that a simple task that most people can accomplish in a day took me 3 months? What if I told you that just moments after completing a task, I swiftly drove over it in a parking lot? The Steve and Kyle podcast proudly presents Steve's Jeep. Done?
Oh my God! If there's ever anything in this world that fit the tune of a Steve and Kyle related project, it is getting done.
It's the 30 for 30 piano music.
Yeah, that absolutely ties it all together. Okay, so you're not comfortable talking numbers because, again, this wasn't a numbers thing. This was a personal experience thing, Steve, and I'll respect that. It's safe to say the budget was blown up by a couple %. So that project is done, which no doubt means, Steve, that APS 4.0 coming your way. I noticed upstairs it looks like you've got the your nose back to the grindstone this past week. I noticed about, I would say 90%, 95% of your trim's done.
Yeah, we're getting there.
The Jeep's done?
Jeep's done.
That only leaves APS 4.0, which in about 3 months, we don't have to worry about paint. We're going to wrap it in the billboard vinyl that we have purchased.
Yes, coming May 2019.
God, every time this gets
May 2019.
Every time that's 13 months away. Yeah, there's a good chance this thing won't exist by then.
The podcast?
Yeah, right. I mean, you don't know what happens in 13 months.
It does hinge upon this billboard campaign that we've been planning. It
really does. And we've logged hours of planning into this thing. Hours. Well, we talked about it last week, Steve. Oh, my goodness. I don't want to jump into this without a proper transition. Do you maybe have something for me before we dig into the big return of the podcast softball team?
Oh, of course. Yeah, this is now deemed to be the new transitional music for any time we talk about sports.
Yeah. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
So softball returned last week. I will never get sick of that, by the way.
Me either.
Softball returned last week. We gave it a bit of a preview. We're not going to delve into it as much as we have in the past, but there were a few points that we need to touch on, Steve.
Okay.
And those, I don't think there's any reason to avoid it. What happened was a total demolishment last week.
Yeah, we destroyed this team.
I still don't know how.
It was final score, I believe, 29-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, we scored a bunch in the first inning. They came back at one. I think the closest it was 10-7 at one point.
Yeah, 10-7 or 9-6, something like that.
And then we went on a run. I think with 2 outs, we ended up scoring like a dozen runs or so. Batted around probably, I think I batted 2 or 3 times in one inning.
Yeah. Now, important to remember, this was all done without our best player and our youngest player. We lost my brother Robert and Joe.
Wait, which one? Who's who on that list?
I told you, our best player and our youngest player. I mean, there's no
Right, yeah, that's true.
no way to mix those two up. We lost Robert.
We did lose the one affectionately known as the wounded giraffe.
And Joe.
And Joe.
And Joe.
Robert has moved on to greener pastures.
Yeah.
We put him down in the off season. It's just, I mean,
he went
anyone
to
who
the-
sees somebody that runs like that knows that they're just moments away from putting a blanket, holding up a sheet in front of them, and
So like my dream of a horse race going that way, that's what we did to my brother this offseason. No, my brother is a very part-time sub as he moves on to actually being a father to my nephews and to his own children, making it difficult for him to participate this year, and Joe. So... honestly, we gave our predictions last week. I don't even know if I still have them written down. I was predicting like 5-5.
I think I said 6-4.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we win 29-9 in route. But a few things, like I mentioned, that we need to talk about outside of Steve jogging in as the ball's being put in play.
Moments before the game started.
First things first, and that is, what was the first event to happen that we need to talk about? Well, I think it's important to talk about the key storyline of the night and the season.
Yeah, I mean,
Steve.
the one thing that all the fans were talking about
chance
was the return, the welcome back chance for Kyle.
The old skipper.
1 year exactly
Yeah.
to the day. Probably, I bet if we were to go back, we could find out exactly what time our game was last April.
There's no question.
20 whatever.
Yeah.
But almost exactly 1 year to the moment that your body said a big F you to you as
Betrayed me.
ligaments were popping, giving you a rough year, as we said, a hobbling and bobbling and a hitch in your giddy up.
Yeah. So I started off by catching and was greeted by... Now, there's a lot of different people who do the umpiring at these games. Most of them are older men. This guy was no exception. Seemed very nice, talkative. I'm catching. I'm chatting with him. And he says something that apparently really stuck with me. Because he says, boy, people up here not swinging. It's slow-pitch softball. You should swing at everything. What are you doing? And apparently... I took that to heart because my first at-bat, my first return, now, admittedly...
Were you just swinging the whole time? The bat just didn't stop?
My warm-up was a windmill with a bat going around my head. So my first at-bat up there, and admittedly, butterflies, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Just that I'm going to swing and my hip's going to pop.
Yeah, well, we're all standing on the bench, basically holding hands, and praying.
There's a prayer circle for my future well-being going on in the dugout.
Yeah. I think your wife was there. She had to have been nervous for you.
I'm sure she was. She wouldn't let on because
Yeah.
she didn't want me to feel more uncomfortable than I probably
She
already
didn't,
was.
like, she didn't yell out, like, don't break your other leg, dear.
At least the right one's okay. Try to keep it. Right? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, come on. She just didn't want to go get the car. You know, that's a long way for me to have
Yeah.
to hobble back there.
Yeah, that is a long hobble.
So I step up to the plate and I take the world's biggest rip at air. This ball, and I talked to people after it, this ball must have landed 3 feet in front of and to the right of home plate. So safe to say, I'm in my own head, and the umpire is in my head.
Yeah.
Because what idiot doesn't swing? Now, I talked about it even last year leading in. I love taking a walk because it drives the opposing team crazy, and it gets me on first, and I don't have to do the work.
I love taking a walk, too.
I love it.
I love it. We'll get to my walk a little bit later.
So I'm nervous now. I'm down on 2 strikes, and I think, oh, God, I need to swing again because what idiot is going to strike out?
Right.
So I take a rip on the second pitch, and it was a good pitch. Pop. Right into left field, Steve.
Look at that.
And a nice hard single. One of those singles that I don't have to run down the first base line, so I jog and I start taking my gloves off because that's what
right.
I've seen it in games before, so that's what you do.
Right. You didn't bat flip, did you?
Oh, God, no. Are you kidding me? I'm surprised I didn't carry it down the line with me.
Like, toss it to the equipment manager and say, put this one in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this one needs to be on a mantle somewhere with remember the day Kyle came back. So, I lace a single, ended up scoring, I think, on that. But that was nothing in comparison to my second at-bat, where apparently, I got a little in my own head there.
Oh, you're batting 1,000.
I'm batting 1,000 on the season. What could go wrong? So I get up there. This ball probably landed 18 inches to the right and in front of home plate. Yet I took, again, the world's second biggest swing at it. So now I think, you know what? This umpire's not going to get in my head. I don't have to swing at this nonsense. If it sucks, it sucks.
It's good. It's good.
Guy throws the next pitch, and I see it. It comes out of his hand. It looks like it's a moon. Like it's just high. It's so high. I leave that bat on my shoulder. I start taking a half a step out of the box. And I hear that ball thump the dead center of the rubber strike mat as I am called out on 2 pitches.
Yeah. Called out looking.
On a strikeout looking, leaving the bases loaded.
That ended the inning, right?
Ended the inning. Bases loaded. I strike out looking in one of the most embarrassing ways possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
Important to note, all the while this is happening, the thoughts from my loved ones and our fans, Steve, are going through my brain. I had a tweet from our teammate, friend Jake. He played some third base.
Wait, Jake was tweeting during the game?
No, this was in the morning.
Okay.
Hey, K-Pav, here's to another season. Hope you don't break your femur by stubbing your toe on a slightly oversized pebble, or breaking your collarbone on a blade of grass, or getting a concussion by taking a sip of water. Let's do this thing, Team Remax.
Well done, Jake. Well done.
And obviously that got the juices pumping. For a little while later, friend of the show, Jeremy Humphrey, at K-Path, happy anniversary with what can only be an image out of a science textbook.
Yeah, like a medical journal.
Of what looks like a removed Achilles tendon.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That one for Jake, or from Jeremy and Jake, both of those. None of those, though, Steve, trumped. And well in advance, I need to say to my mother, there's no need to feel bad about this. It was all very good intent.
Wait, did your mom tweet at you?
No, God, no. That'd be a world colliding that I couldn't accept. Wednesday. Hi, have fun at your game tonight. Dad and I are very leery about why you are doing this.
Thanks, Mom.
But your choice.
Oh, no.
Please be careful. I meet that those words of encouragement with silence for 5 minutes. Just remember, if you get hurt, your work may not keep you. Please rethink this.
So they're all about you pulling the plug.
Yes. I think Katie wanted me to, and it's not just them. And again, I think it's funny. That doesn't bother me. But
it's funny how most would sugarcoat it a little bit more.
Yeah, nope, right to it.
But yeah, with parents, it's like, why? Why would they?
Right to it. I don't think Katie wanted me to play. And I get it. Listen, I'm 31. There's no need for me to play. And
but
I am.
Admit it. You got a little something to prove.
I wanted to come back, absolutely, because like we talked about last week, the last 2 times I played, I've ruptured my Achilles and had my nose broken.
Look, you cannot keep a horse in the stable and then expect that when you open the gates, it's not going to run.
Yeah. But by horse rule, if I get hurt again in another freak accident, they have to shoot
you
me.
will be shot.
They have to kill me
on the field.
There's no doubt about it. And I accept that. That's totally fine. So there was that. I'm not the only one, though, Steve. Do you have anything to recap from your time at the plate?
I had a big
day.
Big week.
Yeah.
Big week at the plate. Big week in the field. Had upwards of 2 plays where the ball came to me. Mm-hmm. So far, error-free for the 2018 season.
Look at that. Fielding percentage of 1,000.
Yeah, I'm like a nominee. I'm in the discussion at least for the Golden Glove.
Gold Glove, absolutely.
Is that boxing? That's boxing.
No, Gold Glove is baseball defensive awards.
Oh, okay. What's Golden Gloves?
Those are like amateur boxing, yeah.
Okay, so not that. I'll go Gold Glove.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 3 for 5 at the plate, batting 600 on the year.
Boy, that's
advancing runners left and right.
Just 1 second.
Scoring multiple times. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just running some quick numbers.
Okay.
You said that was
3 for 5.
3 hits.
3 for 5. 3 for 5. Yeah, batting 600.
My this is surprising, but my calculations have you coming up just shy of 600 by about 200.
Oh, why is that?
I feel like you're calling hits the times you make contact with the ball that just move a runner to the next base.
Well, I mean, okay, we just need to see the scorecard then.
I mean, you do have, if that's the case, you do have the trump card for all time because we did not keep an accurate score, Steve. So
interesting. Very convenient.
All right. Well, Steve's 3 for 5.
Look, it's not on me to prove it. It's on you to prove that I didn't.
Boy, that is so true. It's hard to argue. So Steve, 3 for 5, tremendous day. Advanced a truckload of runners.
That's right. Runners just advancing and advancing
on hits.
Hits. Yeah. Hits.
Myself, 2 for 4, including that glorious strikeout looking, and what the last hit I had traveled probably the furthest a ball can travel without being a home run. It traveled off of my bat to 3 feet in front of that in the dirt. But you know what? This old mule legged it out.
Now, we need to talk about what can only be described as some of the most aggressive base running I've ever witnessed.
I don't even know if it's aggressive as much as what came off as the cockiest base running of all time, right?
Now, you were, I believe, on second base.
Second base.
Don't remember who was at the plate.
2 outs.
Somebody hit a fly ball into left field.
Yeah.
Now, it's important to note that for the left fielder, any fly ball coming towards them, they are looking straight into the sun. That's the way that the field is oriented.
Location.
The time that we were playing, it was like the perfect storm of difficult for a left fielder.
Yeah.
Left fielder, left center, both, they're not having a good day.
Yeah.
So it's a high fly ball. 2 outs, you're running on anything, so you start trotting towards third.
Yep.
And you casually round third, and you are basically at this point walking.
Oh, not basically. I am walking.
Thinking that the ball had been caught.
Yeah.
The inning's over. You're taking gloves off.
Yeah, I'm like biting the fingers because they're on a little too tight. So I'm at this point, I'm thinking in my head, who's in the field next? Whatever. I'm walking.
And then you probably hear, "Run!"
I look up. There's 2 people standing at home plate, and they're waving me. I go, what? Huh? I look behind me, and I see Brandon standing on third base, and I want to say it was either Jake or Rusty coaching third, like looking at me in bewilderment.
What are you doing?
So I'm coming up from second to third. And I look up at the third base coach, either Rusty or Jake. I apologize for not remembering. And they say, You're good. Now, what do you think when you hear that?
I see. That's a terrible thing to say because that could mean so many things.
Right, and I'm not blaming anybody for saying this because I think this is my idiocy.
That could mean you're good. There's not going to be a play. Just take it easy.
Yeah.
It could be, they caught it. You're good. Stop running.
Right. That's the way I interpreted it, because if he had said you're good, meaning don't worry about getting to the base, don't worry about anything else.
Right.
Because if it's you're up home or get down or you're out, whatever, I interpreted it as innings over. So I round third, and again,
just
in
stop.
the cockiest move ever, I'm taking my gloves off, taking one step every 3 seconds towards home.
Hobbling and bobbling.
I still don't know what could have
Hitching your giddy up.
happened in the outfield.
They lost it in the sun, and it dropped. But it dropped, like, right next to them.
Yeah, it was a half an hour before, and I still got home. I still scored a run.
Yeah.
So I apologized because I didn't understand. But, oh, my God, the worst feeling ever, seeing a runner on your shoes, and I did not let him score because of my own... You're good must mean the inning's over. Why?
I wish you would have pulled a Steve and gotten caught in a rundown, which I seem to make like my part-time job last year.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't. Again, that's probably on me. Maybe we could put on the poll this week. I don't know. Is that on me? Is it on? Is it on the third base coach?
I don't know. It's. I think it's a little column A, a little column B.
Because I'm willing to accept this blame, Steve. I'm not above that.
Appreciate that. Mm-hmm. It's very, very noble of you.
3 for 5.
3 for 5, leading the team with a 600 average.
Yeah.
Advancing runners like there's no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So just wait. We'll be back on the diamond this Wednesday.
Yeah. Safe to say home runs will be fewer and further between. Mm-hmm. They moved us to a 300-foot field, which is 15 or 20 feet further than last year.
Yeah.
One of our teammates still did do it. I think if it keeps up...
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did have somebody hit a home run.
If it keeps up at this rate, we have to move up a division. Otherwise, we are, again, that team that we feared last year. We won by 20 runs in the fourth, and it would have kept
but it was the
going.
first game. Everybody's rusty. I mean, they were really rusty.
Yeah, we'll see. This week is a kind of a real test.
We got our ace on the mound back.
Yep, we got the ace on the mound. We're losing the dead weight, our rover, the sponsor. He's gone, thank goodness, this week.
Where's he going to be?
Who cares? That's not fair. Now, did we want to jump into our other rivalry this week, or did we want to move elsewhere, Steve?
Oh, boy, I don't think we have enough time.
There's a lot to digest.
You know
with
something?
that.
I think we have to, but let's cut...
the Fast Five?
Fast Five.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's smart this week. This has been simmering, safe to say, for a while now, right?
Yeah.
Now, what we're talking about is Steve Sidegig's refusal to acknowledge the existence of this podcast.
Yeah, only referring to it in sideways manner.
Yeah.
There's a gag order for some
somewhere.
reason. Yeah. They cannot discuss us, and that's okay. We've forged ahead.
Yeah.
We've formed our nice little Steve and Kyle listener cult.
Yep.
We don't need them.
No.
We don't need them at all.
We've tried. Now, listen, we've had Josh from Maine, who dressed up in Steve and Kyle apparel, put Steve and Kyle on his blindfold when he played trivia with the show. Mm-hmm. We have had people wear our shirts to their live shows in the morning and at night, and had that be responded to by pictures being taken with their backs turned.
Yep.
So they're not with the shirts.
It's funny how this is permeated.
Ooh, that's a loud one.
It's permeated the listenership, where when we were at our night show a couple weeks ago, there were people coming up and getting pictures with us, and they'd come up, "Hey guys, love the show," and I was all the way on the end, and then after they would get our picture, they'd walk by and say, "Hey man, love the podcast."
Oh, this has got to stop. This has got to be in the open.
You got to say it loud and proud.
Yeah, and I want it the other way. You walk up, oh my gosh, Steve, love the podcast.
Yeah.
Guys, show's okay.
Decent show.
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah.
Like, congrats, I guess. Whatever you need to do. That's what we need. Because if few people do that, and it's going to be more noticed. Mm-hmm. So we've been shut out of the night shows and the live shows from being referenced.
Well, that I had to force Stevie Tortellini into the night show.
Right.
I was bound and determined to make a reference to him.
That worked, and it worked.
It
did. There's been avenues, and this is even permeated to individual show members. There was the call to action probably 2 or 3 months ago where we had our followers harass Free Beer on Twitter with hashtag hard pass, hashtag spaghetti pants. That didn't even elicit a response from him.
No.
In the public forum. Now, maybe privately to you, maybe privately to the show, it was referenced, but not even a response from him. And it wasn't like there was 1 or 2 tweets.
Yeah.
There was a dozen tweets that should have made him scratch his head.
So a couple weeks ago, we were driving to Kokomo, Indiana, as I talked about on this podcast, and Free Beer sitting in the back seat, flipping through his phone. He's plugged into the radio, so he's just going through podcasts. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I hear, I was like, "Oh boy,
those dulcet tones of K-Mac.
Where is this going?" And at first, I thought it was just going to be a joke.
Yeah.
And then no, we played it. The whole podcast, or at least part of a good amount of the podcast. Yeah. And at one point I looked over, Hot Wings, who was in the passenger seat, asleep. Free Beer, who was in the seat behind me, asleep. Justin, who was in the other side, had his headphones in, obviously not listening.
Refusing to listen.
Yeah. So I took pictures of all of them individually. I tweeted the picture a couple days later.
Yep.
And so last week on the radio show, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but something came up and about like being bored or falling asleep or something.
Yeah.
And Hot Wings, of all people, decided to launch a nuke right in my direction. And I have the clip here. It's about 2.5 minutes long. Here's how it sounded when that was going down.
You should have asked him to put on the Steve and Kyle podcast. That
put everybody out.
That worked for us during Kokomo.
Boy, that worked like a charm.
Did that hurt your feelings, Steve?
What's that?
Because I thought about that later. Did that hurt your feelings?
A little bit.
It did.
You put it on, and I put my headphones in.
I didn't put it on.
I put it on.
Yeah, you put it on.
I actually listened to it for quite a long time, and I liked it. Eventually, though, I just conked out. I mean, I do that to lots of things.
At that point, because we had been talking all the way down.
I don't think. By the way, I don't want to. I'm not going to cut this off like every 5 seconds or so.
Yeah.
But how perfect of a review is that for this podcast?
Fits right on iTunes.
I like it, but it put me to sleep.
Yeah, I listened for a while. I liked it, but eventually I conked out.
Because we had been talking all the way down, and the conversation lulled. I would have fallen asleep if it was videos I had never seen of my children.
I don't think I didn't.
Those would have been a lot better.
No, it didn't hurt my feelings as much as I felt pathetic, because then it was just me driving you guys around listening to me.
And laughing at your own jokes.
Kind of stuck. I never even thought about that.
You're in a chauffeur mode.
And I have turned it on, so it's on my phone.
Yeah, you turned it on, fell asleep. Hot Wings fell asleep. Justin opted out after 1 minute and put in his headphones.
His was offensive. Hot Wings and I fell asleep like humans do.
Yeah, like a baby riding in a car.
It's not offensive. I've already heard that episode 2 or 3 times and was like, well, I don't want to repeat it again. Yeah. That's just stupid.
Sure.
So it's like, how many times can you hear about?
You listen to all the episodes 2 or 3 times?
Whatever they were talking about.
Yeah. Do you listen to most of the episodes?
No.
How many times? I'm like, you really want to stick with that?
No.
Because I'm going to ask you about what was on last week's episode.
Yeah.
I like how you were trying to nod your head yes, but your mouth said no, and it made your head nod diagonally.
Yeah. Like I wasn't sure where to go.
Yeah, Steve was talking about couches and moving stuff downstairs and, you know, the little flipperoonie. There was some Jeep talk.
The flipperoonie.
Oh, yeah.
There was beard oils and...
if it's any consolation,
you're listening to every episode of this
I remember falling asleep when Kyle was talking.
Oh, duh.
Yeah,
there it is.
There's a little more monotony.
He loves to hear himself in the headphones, doesn't he?
It does make me feel better.
Oh, it's clearly that.
I didn't even know I was tired when you were talking. And then Kyle's like, hey, go to sleep. And I'm like, I will.
Yeah. That's what I heard. I remember you guys talking about doing some home improvement and stuff, and then all of a sudden Kyle's voice got into my brain, and I heard him go, "Breathe deep." And then I don't know what happened. And the next thing I woke up, I see a picture on Twitter of my mouth open.
Yeah, you were talking, and we were pulling into a Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for driving, Steve.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
And thanks for the nap.
No problem at all.
It's like watching paint dry.
So there it is. Finally, after roughly 2 years, just shy of 2 years, we finally get a 3-minute commercial on a big syndicated radio show. And that's how it sounded. What'd you think of it?
Hashtag hard pass. Hashtag spaghetti pants. And apparently, we just need to expand the campaign to other offending members of this side gig.
Such as?
Well, I mean, list them. I mean, there's
just all of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 other ones that were there. I would argue they're all included. Listen, I appreciate it. If they think it hasn't crossed my mind that I'm the one causing these reviews of go to sleep, then they would be wildly incorrect. If there's one thing I can say for this podcast, Steve, that it has done, it has successfully removed the remaining bits of self-esteem I had about speaking into a microphone. And for that, you know what? No, I'm not thankful. Who am I kidding?
It sucks.
Yeah, that's awful, right?
Yeah. So, to recap, it did. It was. It wasn't great when because that's how it started out with Justin saying, "Did that hurt your feelings?" A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. I don't know. I feel like if Free Beer had put on one of his football broadcasts and said, "Oh, you can listen to me. Hear all of my clips.
Here's 45-yard touchdown. Here's my excitement.
Here's my best of calls."
I mean, I didn't compile
watch
that.
Watch that they played this on the national broadcast.
Have I told you about where the press box is there?
And I just put on my headphones and said, "Snooze."
Literally said that, right? Because that's more active than what happened, but maybe, it's still the same gesture.
Like actually held up a sign next to my head that had ZZZZZZZ.
You're now in a comic book. You have a thought bubble of just ... ZZZ.
Yeah. Yeah. If maybe Jerry Seinfeld was riding in the car with us and I cued him every time I just wanted him to say, no thanks. That's probably about how it felt.
Yeah. I mean, we made it. Congrats, right? Congratulations.
What are we congratulating each other?
We made it under the...
Oh, yeah, we did it. So
the campaign continues as far as I'm concerned.
There it is.
Now, when is your next live show, Steve? At the side gig? My goodness, that was direct though. That may be, in case you haven't heard, that may be Hershey's Kisses, cookies and cream related. Yeah. We'll have to take a picture of the graveyard we have made.
And this is only like half of it.
Yeah. Oh, well, because I crumbled it up, so a lot of them are very small.
Yeah.
But the campaign continues, Steve. So when is your next live event?
It is May 18th, I believe, in Portland, Maine.
So that gives 2.5 weeks to get together the Portland, Maine listener, the listening audience. If you have a Steve and Kyle shirt, please wear it. Nikki, if you're going, I would suggest maybe wearing the Lee Harvey Oswald shirt at your own peril.
I don't know about that.
That is to your own liking, but please. And if you have merch, bring it there. Maybe that's what we need to do. I'm saying we're giving you some of the remaining stickers and buttons.
I think that we need to get one of our, because Portland, Maine is a Steve and Kyle podcast stronghold.
It absolutely is.
I think we need to ship a box of merch out there.
Yeah.
Hire someone out there for no dollars and no cents.
Sure. It's a volunteering gig. Yeah.
To set up a table inside of the venue to sell Steve and Kyle merch.
That should happen. We've already talked about doing that at the local event next year.
Yeah,
because it just makes sense. People are there for a different breath of fresh air, Steve. And these gas bags who have been doing this for 20 years, done. Okay. How about these guys that have been doing it for 1.5 years?
Almost 2.
Once a week.
We're just shy of 2 years.
This market is ripe for the taking in the podcast industry, Steve.
That's right.
We already own these 4.5 block radius. Mm-hmm. Merch tables at the live event. So Portland, Maine, you're up. Now, like you mentioned, that's a stronghold. We had a bunch of listeners come down, visit us in Boston when we were there last summer.
Yep.
That means the participation at this live event should be just as high, if not more.
Yeah. I want somebody, when we walk up there at 5 a.m, I want people to be holding a banner that says, "Welcome, Steve, of the Steve and Kyle podcast," and then in small letters, "and free beer, hot wings, Justin."
Please do that.
Yeah.
And then, misspell it.
Yeah, do that annoying thing where people make free beer one word and hot wings one word.
For whatever reason, right?
Why do they do that?
I don't know. That's maddening.
Just, if
grammar.
you do that, know that you're stupid. Because that is not one word.
Right. So
neither of them are one word.
Posters, shirts. I might send you out there if you have room in your bag. Like, I have extra buttons and stickers. If you didn't get any the last time, or if you want a few more, or if you want to slap it on one of the show members' back when you get your picture taken at the end of the show, I'll recommend it. I'll bring those over. I'll send those with you.
Maybe get a bunch of your friends. Everybody paint letters on their chest. Get in the first row. Yeah. So at one point I can kind of cue everybody, and then like clockwork, everyone takes their shirts off, and it says, "We are big fans of the Steve and Kyle podcast." Yes. I mean, you're gonna have to have a lot of people.
Boy, you're gonna have to pay some people, because we know we called it a stronghold. That's an aggressive word. So you're going to need to pay some folks.
Yeah.
But make it happen, Portland. Very excited to see the turnout. Always love that on the side gig live events when our Twitter starts getting active during that morning. Yeah. And I see pictures of our shirts and our merch out there. That's always exciting to see.
Here's what we'll do. 'Cause since I can change the password for the Free Beer and Hot Wings social media accounts.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that. Lock everybody out of them. Oh. And those accounts will just go dark for a few days.
Huh. Accidents.
Yeah, happen. I mean, we got the cookies weren't enabled.
Right.
Weird.
The cache didn't get cleared fully, and it caused
TCP/IP settings.
Yeah.
Corrupted
disk.
Hashtag delete Facebook.
Sure. I mean, listen, this is all part of it. So yeah, I mean, if that happened to happen, that'd be a bummer.
Yeah. So we'll just have to. We'll have to see how that goes, but yeah, it's always fun to see the shirts out in the crowd when we're doing a live show.
Yeah, that'd be a shame if that happened.
I think we might have time, actually.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it. We got one more thing I want to talk about, but that works next week.
All right.
Fast 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think I'm up, right?
Yeah.
All right. First on the Fast Five, Mike Francesa.
Boy, welcome back to the airwaves. All of thousands of people care.
He has been gone upwards of 4 months.
Big retirement. Long retirement.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
He is going to be talking sports.
By the time you're listening to this, Mike Francesa will be back in the airwaves. And again, that is for the thousands of people across the country who care.
Next, Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, what an event. A spectacle, Steve. It's the only proper way to put it.
Next, North and South Korea.
Boy, who needs Trump for the summit, right? Maybe they get the job. And again, we'll talk about it on the way back. Absolutely no reason to say that maybe Trump isn't a reason for this happening.
Okay. White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Shouldn't be an outrage now. Wasn't an outrage then. It's the same thing it's always been.
And finally, Westworld.
Yeah, man.
It's back.
It's that land like just west of Montana, right?
So you're not a fan?
Oh, the HBO program? No, I am not.
You thought that I was just talking about like
the world to the west of the Mississippi. It's totally different. I'm not familiar with it.
The Midwest.
Yeah, right. No, I do remember seeing that. It came back last week. That's a show, man.
No interest though.
No, too much for me. Like that's a show that and we talk about it. Like passerby TV. That is the opposite of passerby TV. Yeah. It's very in depth, and you need to focus. Same thing as Game of Thrones. I mean, I have the. I'm not going to be. Oh, I'm too busy. No, I could obviously make the time for that, but it just has not happened, and it doesn't particularly intrigue me.
It's difficult to watch.
Is it?
Season 2 started.
Just to follow?
Yeah, it's hard to follow. Well, I mean, it's one of the HBO shows, so it's been off for over a year.
Sure.
So I've forgotten everything. I remember how it ended, but yeah, it's one of those shows, like you said, you just have to pay attention to every detail. Mm-hmm. There are like alternate timelines and it jumps back and forth, but you don't realize that there are alternate timelines until you're like 8 episodes in, and then you're like, well, what the F? And then it's very difficult, so we tried to start watching the first season again. And it's just not happening.
Tough.
I want to watch it, though, because I really like it.
Yeah. And just like HBO, I mean, I know it's well done. I know it's impeccably produced. But it's the same problem with Game of Thrones that people with that are a little bit more fervent. But they're in the middle of a 2-year hiatus.
Yeah.
Their last season ended whenever it was, last July. They don't come out onto the air until next April.
It's insane. All right, White House Correspondents' Dinner. Who was the comedian?
Michelle Wolf, up and coming, but very popular. There's a new Netflix series debuting this month. Had an HBO special. By all accounts, appears to be very, very funny. Mm-hmm. Did what people will do at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You take digs at the journalists, at the politicians, at the White House.
At the administration, yeah.
It's happened forever. And it happened to Barack Obama. It happened to George W. Bush. It happened to Clinton. This is not the worst of it, but reading a lot of the press today, you would think it is.
Yeah. Of course, our fair president, not in attendance.
Yeah, second year in a row.
Dealing with very important stuff, no doubt.
It's weird to watch because there's one joke in particular, one joke this year that has caught the ire of the internet and some journalists. And it is a joke that said, it's something along the lines of Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is the press secretary, who, if you haven't seen her, you just need to look up a picture of her, takes the ashes from the tears of the dreams or something that she's consumed to make the perfect smoky eye. That was the joke. Mm-hmm. And that has been construed into making fun of her looks, which is what the same fire that Jim Carrey stepped into a month ago when he did his drawing of Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yeah.
And that has caught the eye of conservative outlets as well as some left outlets. Mika Brzezinski, who was herself a target of an attack by Donald Trump about facial lift surgery and bleeding everywhere, has said that it was an outrage and was over the line. This thing's been going on for years. Mm-hmm. It's not offensive. People saying it's offensive are the same people who were walking around a year and a half ago wearing a shirt that says F their feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a weird double standard.
I know, it's so strange about how you're all about making fun of the like crying liberals need their safe spaces. Yeah. It's offensive. Oh, why everything's so offensive to liberals? Yeah. And now it's like what the White House Correspondents' Dinner is, right? Like that it's just going to be people making fun of the people in the current administration, right? And that's how it always goes. But now you're going to be...
It's fascinating to watch.
Do you think that like hearing this explanation of it, or any explanation of it like this, will make somebody say, oh boy, yeah, you're right, that is kind of weird. I know, double standard, guilty. I would love to hear... No. I would love to hear
There's no
somebody admit to that.
It's more divisive than it's ever been, and there's no sign of it even simmering. And this is just another example of it. Now, I don't know who this is good or bad for. I mean, it's in the press. Who knows? I'm sure. I don't think you're looking at a Kathy Griffin situation where Michelle Wolf gets cast out of Hollywood and comedy.
Nah, she's not well known enough, too.
Right. But, it's just another... I mean, a lot of people seem to think this is just another dangle the keys and off to the side maneuver where it's avoid what's actually going on. Look at this hot topic. So frustrating.
Before that, we had North and South Korea. This is historic stuff that's taken place in the last week.
Big news.
Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, met with I forget what his name is.
He's President Moon.
President Moon from South Korea. Yeah. This is the first time that the leader of North Korea has entered South Korea in like 70 years or something.
Yeah, since I want to say before the conflict, right?
Yeah, so they met and have agreed to formally end
Yeah.
the war between them and agreed to denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula.
Nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like there's video of Kim Jong-un walking to meet Moon, and they do the thing where he ceremoniously steps into South Korea because there's the demilitarized zone, and I forget what the town is in the demilitarized zone. But that was crazy to watch.
Yeah, this is a huge deal. I mean, at this point, obviously, it's closer than ever to being a neutral, peaceful zone. Mm-hmm. I mean, like you said, since before the conflict began, this is after UN announced a week and a half ago that they were going to abandon the nuclear program.
Yeah,
you have to think this is economy related. I'm sure. Because they're essentially cut off from the outside world.
Yeah.
I'm sure food is a struggle. Necessities are a struggle there right now.
Yeah, people aren't living large in North Korea.
No. And so I think this is a necessary thing that has to happen. Now, this is the same thing that has happened in Iraq before, where let's see if weapons inspectors are allowed down the road. And, this is a years-long program to see what happens.
Yeah, this isn't going to be fixed by the end of the summer.
And it very well might end in another thing like Iraq happened. We'll see. It's a long ways away, but this is obviously a very positive step.
All right, Avengers Infinity War.
Unbelievable. What an event. Went and saw it opening night, Steve, with our friend, the local
and
town
finally,
drunk,
Mike
Rusty.
Francesa.
That's
sorry.
Thanos, the villain, the cosmic villain, finally interacting with the Earth's Avengers, the mightiest heroes Earth has to offer. But not only them, Steve, the Guardians of the Galaxy making their very first appearance, mingling with Thor in outer space and coming to Earth to finally help.
And finally, Mike Francesa.
I'm talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Yeah, man, he's back. Long retirement.
No, I know that.
What a
most
weird
people don't
go.
know about this guy, but Mike Francesa, for those of you who don't know, we've talked about him before here on the podcast on the side gig. He was a staple in New York City sports radio for 3 decades.
Yeah,
originally part of Mike and the Mad Dog show, which was, a trend. Like they wrote the book on sports talk radio. They split up 10 years ago. For 10 years, Francesa did it on his own. And had basically a 1.5 year long send off leading up to his retirement at the end of December.
Yeah,
in December, he was done. He had done everything he needed to do. Well, he left, and it was no secret that he wasn't happy with the company that he was leaving, with the station he was leaving.
Yeah.
So all the rumors started swirling. Well, where's Francesa going to end up next? What's he going to do? Is he going to do a podcast? Is he going to be on the ESPN station across town? Well, last week, I think on Friday, it was announced Francesa got a gig. And it's right back on the station.
Right? Sirius XM, maybe a podcast?
No, it's right back on the station in the same time slot that he was on 4 months ago.
That's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
I don't get how that happens or why he left to begin with. Did he just want a vacation?
It seemed like he, if you look at it, it seems like he was anxious to get out of there, left, didn't get any offers or didn't get anything that he felt was a good enough offer.
Right. It's like, I wonder if he walked in with the world's dumbest tactic, which is like asking for double of what you want salary-wise, and they were like, well, no, get out of here. Obviously, it's radio. We can't afford double what you're asking. It's stupid.
Why would we do that? Yeah,
so maybe he had like 2 offers. One of them just bolted the room because he asked for some stupid stuff. But he obviously knows what he wanted, which I'm sure is in the millions. You think he's millions?
Yeah, he was supposedly making like $2 million a year or something like that.
Now the report is that he did take a sizable pay cut to come back, but
his shift is also short because he used to be on from it was 1 to 6:30. He was on the air. He did a 5.5 hour sports talk show, which is by himself too.
Stupid.
That's difficult.
It's bad radio, by the way.
But now he's going to be on 3 to 6:30, so significantly shorter show.
Yeah.
But the sports pope. He is back on New York City radio, I believe, tomorrow.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
He is going to be doing that.
Isn't it nasty between like him and the people who took the time slot? It's rumors of nasty texts being sent.
Well, when he left, they did a huge search for their next talent, because it's like the Howard Stern effect. You don't want to be the guy that follows Stern. You want to be the guy that follows Stern.
Yeah.
So they invested heavily. They had a 3-person afternoon show.
Former NFLer Bart Scott, Maggie Gray, and Chris Carlin.
Yes. And so they've been doing the show. By all accounts, has not been going well. It was for like the first time ever they were beaten by the Michael Kay show, which is the crosstown ESPN afternoon show. So now they say that they are going to keep that show. They're just going to shift them into a different time slot.
Oh, this is the start of bad news.
They're going to be on from like 1 to 3.
Yeah.
And Francesa is going to be on 3 to 6:30. That'll be an awkward interaction. Like at the end of their show and the beginning of his show, like, hey.
Yeah, leaving the studio. Hey, have a good show today, Mike.
Now, I'm assuming Francesa will be now doing his show from the Mike Francesa studio, which WFAN named after him when he retired not even 4 months ago.
What a weird scenario, man. Whatever. I mean, this is a classic case of someone not being able to let go.
Yeah, by all accounts, massive ego is
always has
is what's keeping him. Supposedly, he got word that there were some people at WFAN who said something like, he'll never work here again. Yeah. And that's when he decided, no, I'm going to work there again. Right. And he decided to come back.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes.
Fast 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The NFL draft.
Oh, they're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Hey, man, Baker Mayfield.
Number 1 overall to Cleveland,
to the Browns.
Oh, unexpected until the day of.
Exciting.
The Avengers Infinity War.
That's a movie that you saw last week. That
your thoughts on that ending?
Boy, I couldn't believe when Thanos came from the stratosphere and landed in a volcano.
He did
it's like, I mean, it's exactly as L. Ron Hubbard wrote it.
The Zedons and the Thetos or whatever support him. Tom Brokaw.
Oh, disappointing.
That's a bummer, right?
Very disappointing.
Yeah, that. I mean, again,
because you got to treat him the same as you've treated all of the other.
Charlie Rose, Brian Williams, or I'm sorry, Matt Lauer.
Yeah, Brian Williams.
Brian Williams has a whole separate thing.
He's like, come on, man.
Is Brian Williams by default going to be back to like the top of the newscaster rankings? Because what's worse, being a total liar and a fraud, or being somebody who sexually harasses underlings at your workplace?
Being a total liar and a fraud.
Has to be, right?
Yeah, that's better.
Give him the nightly news.
Yeah, you're not a pervert.
Yeah, the latest, not victim. He's not a victim at all, but the latest accused of the hashtag Me Too movement.
Yeah. Bill
Cosby.
Not surprising.
No. It's surprising that it took an appeal.
Yeah.
To get there is what is surprising.
Not surprising ultimately.
And finally, the Golden State Killer.
Boy, what a crazy story.
Unbelievable,
Was
right?
he on the run for 40 years or something?
And on the run, he lived in the town he committed, he committed a lot of the crimes in.
Hiding in plain sight.
Now, 12 murders he's being attributed to him, 50-plus rapes. And it turns out, former Auburn, California police officer, accused Golden State Killer, Joseph D'Angelo, I want to say his name is, 74 years old. They arrested him in his home without incident last week after a 40-year search for this guy.
That's so crazy. Like,
unbelievable.
Because you got to figure if you're doing these terrible crimes, after you commit them, they're going to be big news.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another person showed up, found dead.
Mm-hmm.
But after it doesn't get solved for 6 weeks, couple months, years later, you got to be like, well, I got away with it. So, do you think that he ever let his guard down?
Absolutely. I think so. At this point, he's in his 70s. And honestly, before Patton Oswalt's late wife was writing a book on the Golden State Killer, it ended up being released, I want to say a year ago after her passing. Patton Oswalt helped finish it along with a couple other authors. It had faded, just like, the Zodiac Killer fades, but then they say, oh, it's still active. Still active.
Yeah.
And this was a similar situation. The police have not admitted it, but it's pretty fair to say that reignited public interest and maybe police interest in this case, and the method they used to find this guy was insane. That they had DNA. They used a genealogy website.
Yeah, like the 23andMe or
narrowed it down to like 3 people, and he was the only one who would match the age, location, and all of this stuff. And sure enough, they got some of his used DNA from the trash after following him, and it lined up. It was a match to found at the crime scene. Unbelievable. Now, he hasn't made a plea yet, but wow. I mean, I don't know if that's... Do you feel good about this? Now, if you're a victim or a family member of a victim 40 years, do you feel good, or is it better that it had faded from your memory?
No, I think you absolutely feel good about it. Granted, I've never been in that situation and cannot even imagine what it's like to be in that situation where a loved one of yours is killed and there's just no resolution. But yeah, yes, I would be happy that there's finally some closure.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. One, again, dates back decades. Before that, Bill Cosby on appeal. Well, not appeal, on a retrial. So now the first trial for this case, now this is a 2004 University of Temple employee.
Temple University, yeah.
Temple University employee who brought these accusations against him. And the first trial ended in a hung jury. Mm-hmm. Yet the state decided we're going to go right back to a retrial. Now, on retrial, he was convicted of all counts, which could carry up to 50 years, but most likely he will be sentenced to up to 10 years in prison, meaning more than likely Bill Cosby will die in jail.
I bet that, because when is sentencing?
It's got to be soon.
Not for, I'm assuming a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I think he'll be dead before he sees.
You think
before
so?
Before he goes to, it'll be Paterno. You know, he'll be dead before that the bars close in front of him.
What a crazy thing, and the fact that it was just this one woman because of the statute of limitations. That's the only reason this was brought up. So Bill Cosby and had an outburst when he was sentenced. Started yelling at the foreman of the jury.
Yeah, because somebody, I guess one of the lawyers involved was trying to get his bail or his bond. I don't know which one is which. Bond is. Yeah, because bail is when you're already in jail. You get bail out. But they were trying to get his bond set at like something ridiculous because they thought he was a flight risk. Yep. And somebody said something like, oh, well, he can just get on his plane and fly away. And he said something like I don't have an effing plane, you a-hole.
Yeah, he is.
Imagine Bill Cosby saying that.
An 80-year-old, I mean, at this point, he's an 80-year-old grumpy man who's obviously a very, very... dark side of this
he's a
guy.
Terrible person.
So
absolutely terrible
Bill
person.
Cosby going to jail.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Like, that's a life wasted.
Yeah.
Because his legacy, gone.
Oh, it's ruined.
100% gone.
Yeah. It's Paterno.
I saw that yesterday, like, Temple University took back their honorary...
Which, by the way, if it took the actual conviction to do that, get out of here. What a joke. What does he lose? Privileges to eat at the Commons? He can't go get a Quizno or a Sheets over at Temple?
Now... I'm not going to be happy unless they actually knocked on his door and said, give it back.
Yeah. Where is it?
Went into his trophy room.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
And here's your frame back.
Yeah.
So, Bill Cosby.
Take that back to Michael's.
Going to jail. For that, Tom Brokaw, accused of sexual harassment.
By 2 women, right?
Is that what it is? I only heard the one.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 women, 2 former employees of... that was NBC, yeah. Yep. Tom Brokaw, NBC Nightly News.
Only fair to say, he adamantly denies any wrongdoing or any situation of wrongdoing.
I kind of believe him.
It's weird, and I know that sounds bad, right?
Yeah,
because you're supposed to. The whole part of this movement is you're supposed to believe.
I know. But when it comes from such a... Now, if it was Brian Williams, I would say, oh, man, that guy's guilty. Can't trust a word he says. But I think just because it's Tom Brokaw, and look, no disrespect at all to any of the accusers. It's just, when you first hear about it, your first reaction is, no, not Tom Brokaw. Come on.
Yeah. What happens? He's not working anyway.
Right.
I mean, he retired years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what comes of this. I don't know.
It's disappointing. I hope that if it's found out that he did do it, hopefully he pays the price for it, just like anybody else that's been accused of something and has been found guilty, like Cosby. Mm-hmm. That was one where I was like, oh man, come on.
Before that, Avengers: Infinity War. Now this is something you're not interested in. I know you went and saw the Black Panther.
I saw Black Panther.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that at this point, I see all of the movies that have come out under this whole, under the whole banner of the superhero movies.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed by it.
Sure.
If there were maybe 2 or 3 of them, every time I see the previews for them, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one. I'm going to go see it now.
Going to get back on.
And I just don't.
Okay.
And then 1 month later, 3 more of them come out.
Right. And a lot of people say there is an overload. I mean, for me, I look forward to these. I love them. And this thing was the pinnacle of the 10 years that they've been building to. Absolutely unbelievable.
I think what I need you to do, because you are the authority on the comic book movies, the superhero movies, you need to write a list of must-sees for me, the order that I have to see them, the ones I can skip.
Oh, yeah.
Just put them all in the order that I need to see them, but maybe have like a little key, like that's an optional drop one, like if you don't have an extra couple hours.
I could do that. So I believe there's 18 or 19 total.
But
that includes this one that came out last weekend.
Does that include the Batman with Michael Keaton?
That's not dating back that far. But if you think about it, there's 18 or 19 total.
Okay.
You can rule out Black Panther because you've already seen it.
Well, yeah, but I'd want to see it in the timeline.
Who cares?
In the context.
Timeline now. Great. Done.
Because if there's 18 of them, so Black Panther is what, 17th on that list?
Correct. 17 or 18. Yeah.
So I would have to go back and watch all 16 before that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I may as well just slip Black Panther in there.
What's a number I could get you to? Movie number wise, where you'd be comfortable, like, yeah, I could do that. Now, again, there's not like there's a deadline of, hey, you have to watch it by next week.
I think if we could do if you could get it to 8 or 9, I could knock it out in a weekend.
Okay.
And that would be all I do that weekend.
I think I can comfortably do that too. I mean, you think about it. There's 3 Iron Mans. There's 3 Thors.
I've seen 2 of them.
Yeah, see, done.
But I need to watch them all again.
Yeah, but I can not all.
I need to take notes. I'm going to live tweet the whole thing.
Oh, you should.
Yeah, I'm going to hashtag Steve watches
Marvel.
Yep.
Hashtag
I would have said DC.
Yeah, I'll get by next week. I'll give you 8 or 9 that you need to see that are included that are part of this run that'll get you caught up.
Okay,
done deal. And first off, Steve, the NFL draft.
Oh. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
Yeah.
You were tuned in?
My favorite part of the NFL draft was when David Akers
yelled at Dallas.
Took the podium because last year, who was it?
It was a former Cowboy.
Last year, the draft was in Philly.
Yeah.
And there's a bitter rivalry between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Drew Pearson, maybe?
Former Cowboy, yeah.
Former Cowboy Drew Pearson stood up there and taunted Eagles fans mercilessly before announcing the Cowboys pick.
Second round. Yeah, beautiful moment. Always love that.
Yeah, then it's great. Even as somebody who would identify as an Eagles fan, it's great because he's up there. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's showing his Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
And it's just a series of boos. You can't hear anything else. Boo.
So great to see. Now, first round of the draft, Thursday night, Steve. Now, safe to say your draft board was busted. You get to pick 2. You got Saquon Barkley, the running back out of Penn State, probably the most athletically gifted running back prospect to come out in years, probably since Adrian Peterson. Cleveland passes on him at the 1. Goes to the New York Football Giants, Steve, at number 2. And then Cleveland, what do, Steve? They Cleveland Brown it at number 4. They take a cornerback. You don't need to take a cornerback at number 4. They pass on the edge rusher and the stud guard, Quentin Nelson, and Bradley Chubb. I need my own podcast.
Oh, sorry, that must.
Don't even get me going on the Patriots.
You okay?
Buffalo trades over.
All right, well, Stephen Kyle podcast coming to a close. We're past our time limit. Unfortunately, we're about 3 minutes past where we wanted to finish. Sorry about that.
Buffalo, am I right?
What was that? Okay. In the meantime, you can download, subscribe, and review the show in iTunes, the Apple Podcast app, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher. Also on YouTube, StephenKyle.libsyn, LIBSYN.com. On Twitter, @StephenKyle, Facebook.com/StephenKyle. Keep an eye out. We'll have a a poll going up at some point this week.
Is our beef with Steve's side gig justified? Because maybe we're out of line here, Steve. Maybe. Right? Maybe we're the ones making this something bigger, even though we know we're not. They're being children.
So we always appreciate your participation in that. And we'll talk to you next week.